Hello, YouTube divers. This is Water Eye 122, and I want to welcome you all to another episode of Magic Metal Mondays. Today, we are going to be reviewing the latest studio album from Swedish Power Metal legends, HammerFall, entitled Avenge the Fallen. This is the 13th studio album from the Swedish Power Metal legends, who have been rocking out since the early 1990s. They were founded by current guitarist Oscar Dronjak, and they have made amazing records such as Glory to the Brave, Legacy of Kings, Threshold, as well as No Sacrifice, No Victory. And my favorite album from them, and one of my favorite power metal records of all time, Crimson Thunder, which came out in 2002. I've been a big fan of these guys ever since ever since I listened to their discography over a year ago. And when I heard the news that this album was going to be released, and by this album I mean Avenge the Fallen, when I heard it was going to be released, I was extremely excited for it. I was super pumped up about it. It would be my first HammerFall record as a full-time fan, so I had some expectations for it there. But also I had some expectations for it because the previous album, Hammer of Dawn, from 2022, was also a very good record. One of the best records from HammerFall's modern output, if you ask me. And I say that because, HammerFall's modern output is kind of infamous. Not really, but I mean, like, in the vein of, like, their variety within their discography. HammerFall has always been a band that's about battles and wars and like all these gimmicky power metal themes. It's very cliche, but I mean, they were actually doing a pretty good job of handling those cliches up until they released No Sacrifice, No Victory, which from that point onwards, every album just felt like the same, and it was just very boring and very forgettable and very repetitive. But they showed signs of new ideas and things that they would try out on later records on their previous album, Hammer of Dawn, and that kind of brings us to where we are right now with Avenge the Fallen. I am very happy to say that this album has definitely fulfilled my expectations when it comes to being an album that would be released as a new full-time fan of a new band that I never really listened to up until like a year ago, which was just great stuff to hear. But now we're gonna go ahead and get into this album, so let's do it. So the album lineup, we have longtime lead singer Joakim Cans on lead vocals, as well as founding guitar player Oscar Dronjak and rhythm guitar player Pontus Norgren. And then we have bass guitarist Fredrik Larsson and drummer Dave Wallen. Basically, this lineup has been around since the Revolution days or the Built to Last days, somewhere in that time span. Pretty solid lineup if you ask me. But I will go ahead and say that Avenge the Fallen is the best album released with this lineup so far. We're gonna find out why. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the opening track is the title track, Avenge the Fallen, and in my opinion, this is the best track on the record. I really love the energy and I really love the enthusiasm on this song. The music video is great as well. And that chorus is just classic HammerFall in every way, shape, and form. I love this song. Track number 2 is the next single released on the record, The End Justifies. It also got a music video for it. It's another catchy song. Great power metal track with a great chorus. And it really reminds me of the Renegade album in terms of like being very power metal, speed metal heavy. It's a great song. And then we have the third track, which is the first deep cut on this album, and that is Freedom. I think this is a good track. I don't really think it's anything special. This sort of sounds like a leftover from Hammer of Dawn, because it really captures those similar ideas to what Hammer of Dawn was going for. And I feel like this track would have worked better on that album instead of here, but, um, whatever, I guess. It's still a good song nonetheless. Then the fourth song is the third single on this record, Hail to the King. And this is another very, very strong song. This reminds me a lot of the Crimson Thunder album in terms of like being how dark and brooding and heavy it is. And I'm specifically getting those vibes from the Crimson Thunder title track. It's very slow and it's very dark and ominous. Not quite as dark and ominous as the Crimson Thunder title track, but still a very nice and chanting song nonetheless. All three of the singles on this record, the title track, The End Justifies, and Hail to the King, are all fantastic numbers, really. Then we have track number 5, which is Hero to All, and from this point onwards, all the tracks on the record are all deep cuts. Hero to All really reminds me a lot of the Legacy, really reminds me of the Glory to the Brave album. It's, again, very power metal, very speed metal heavy, but it's a great song. And then we have the ballad on the record, Hope Springs Eternal, and this is one of the more average ballads from HammerFall. If you've seen my previous videos about HammerFall, you know I love all the ballads that they've done over the years. You have Remember Yesterday from Legacy of Kings, the Glory to the Brave title track. Then you have Always Will Be from Renegade, and even some great ballads on their modern records like Send Me a Sign from Infected, Winter's Coming from Revolution, and The Twilight Princess from Built to Last. All of those songs are just, oh my god, they're so beautiful. But with Hope Springs Eternal, I think this is one of their most average ballads. I mean, I don't really enjoy this song when it comes to the grand scheme of HammerFall ballads, but then again, HammerFall has released way too many good ballads. And this is a good ballad too. It's not bad, but it's just not as good as some of the other ones they've done previously. So there's that. Then we have another great power metal track, Burn It Down, which is which basically sounds like a song that could be on Chapter 5 or Threshold. It's a very heavy track. I love this song a lot. Then we have Capture the Dream, which kind of sounds like a song that was left off the Legacy of Kings album. It's very catchy. It's very interesting. It's just a great song. And another one of my favorite songs for the record. Rise of Evil is next, and again, it's a very early HammerFall sounding track. I absolutely love it. It's a great song. And then we got the final closing 6-minute track, Time Immemorial, which is another good song, but I think that a lot of the other songs on the record are a lot better. But still a good song nonetheless. Overall, this album completely blew me away. I was very surprised about how fun it was. The band just sounds totally rejuvenated here. Joachim Kams, in particular, delivers one of his best vocal performances in a very long time. I would probably say this is his best vocal performance since No Sacrifice, No Victory, in my opinion. He delivered some great vocal performances on the other records as well in the modern era, but he really gets back into that early range that he had on like their first 4 or 5 records. And the guitar playing, there's some really tasty riffs on here, and David Volin as a drummer, probably his best performance up to this point. I really like it. Overall, I'd rate this album a 9.5 out of 10. The only reason why it's a 9.5 and not a full-blown 10 out of 10 is because of two things. One, because of some of the weaker moments on this record, particularly in the three good songs on this record, Freedom, Hope Springs Eternal, and Time Immemorial. They have some moments that I really like and some moments that I don't really like, and they just feel a little bit inconsistent. And the second reason is because there's still a couple of records that I would prefer over to this one. But I will go ahead and say that Avenge the Fallen is easily the best album from HammerFall's modern output, and in my opinion, it's their best record since Threshold, which came out all the way back in 2006. It is just a fantastic album, and I hope they continue to keep going in this direction, stay within their power metal roots. It's a really, really sweet love letter to their early fans and to their early catalog with their first 4 or 5 records. You get a lot of those vibes when you listen to this album. And if you're a diehard HammerFall fan or a diehard power metal fan, you'll have a blast with this record. This album will definitely take you on an adventure. So I hope you'll be ready for it if you do choose to listen to this record. But either way, you'll have a great time on here. So yeah, in conclusion, this is a 9.5 out of 10 album, one of my favorite albums from HammerFall. So with that said, that concludes this edition of Magic Metal Mondays. Thank you so much for watching, my fellow YouTube divers. This is Water Dive 122 signing out, ready to dive into more fun on YouTube. Thank you for watching.